Hey guys, Wano here, and today we're gonna talk about why Gray Zone Warfare has such bad FPS and stuttering, and how the developers of the game can actually fix those problems so you don't have to upgrade just to play the game. Gray Zone Warfare has only been released a couple of weeks ago, but it's still becoming notorious for having some of the worst performance ever in a new game. But what if I tell you that there is a reason for that, and that it can be fixed if the devs just made some small changes in the game?
In this game you can play until you break, and you say that you made addition great. Fast paced is what you say, one roll play.
Love that song. Before we get into the grid of this video, I talk about and play a bunch of FPS games, focusing on tactical FPS games as well as extraction shooters. I like to create FPS and settings guides for those games as well, so if you would like to see more of that or just enjoy my videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free and it helps me out a lot to create more content for you guys, so you don't have to search far and wide for problems that you might face in a lot of games. Right, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Gray Zone Warfare is an ambitious project. The game is set in the Democratic Republic of Le Mans, which is a fictional Southeast Asian country that is about 42 square kilometers big. So if you look at how big the map actually is, and the fact that it's set in a pretty dense foresty area, you will start to understand why this game might have such a performance impact on your system. Every time you enter a new zone, area, or fly over the country with the helicopter, your game needs to optimize all the shaders in real time before you get to the new area. That also happens all the time while you are in towns or busy areas with a lot of the AI. The shader optimization causes a lot of stutters, and it's even worsened by the server's instability, which is another issue we will get into later in this video. But usually game developers have a pretty reasonable approach to a problem like this that can also actually fix most, if not all, of Gray Zone Warfare stutters. The only thing that the GZW devs need to do in a situation like this is to introduce loading screens, and one of the easiest places they can do this would be with the helicopter rides. Let me explain how that would work and how it can actually fix more than a performance issue. When you enter the helicopter, instead of just taking off, you can be thrown into a loading screen that uses that time to optimize the shaders of your destination as well as render all the necessary data, and that would also cause the helicopters to technically teleport from one place to another. But here's where it also fixes another common issue in the game. Because the helicopters technically teleport from one place to another, the developers can also add more helicopters in the game, so you don't have to wait for like 20 minutes at busy times just to get picked up. So this would mean that with just the helicopter rides alone, the game would already run probably like twice as smooth at least. But there is one more place where there can be some loading screens: big towns and or missions. Let's say you need to go to the infamous Tiger Bay area. That is already a pretty hard area that only high level players and full squads can get into semi-safely. You don't want to struggle with FPS issues and stutters as well. Before going into the area, you can have a loading screen that once again does the shader optimization and renders in the area, before setting you at different spawn locations or one of your choosing just outside of the area. I know there are a lot of people that really hate loading screens, but it's essential to note that there are reasons developers have been using loading screens for so long. With that being said, let's get into the second thing that the GZW devs can do to make the game run better. A lot of the time when I see players complaining about bad performance, it's actually more server related than game related if you look close enough. Stuttering happens when the game freezes or the FPS drops to very low points before going back to the normal amount again when the game has done all of its rendering and optimizing. Server lag is when you jerk around, teleport or rubber band, which, as the name suggests, make your character act like it's on a rubber band, so when you move in any direction, it sometimes snaps you back to the previous position, which I know it can be super frustrating to say the least. But unfortunately, there's not much the developers can do there except for server optimization, getting more servers and in more locations across the globe, which, to be fair, they are effectively working on doing. As soon as there are more capacity in servers and more local servers for players, the game will run a lot smoother than it previously did. Only time will tell if the GZW devs actually fix most of these issues and what they will do at the end of the day to ensure that the game can run as smooth as possible for most of their player base. In the meantime, you can also optimize your game as best you can by adjusting some of the settings that are in-game and understanding some of the pre-existing issues in this video on your screen. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you got this far, please let me know in the comments with the smiley emoji. Until next time, I've got one question for all of you. Do you want to play?